Hello, welcome back to From Soft Serve. Today is a pretty fun update. One that I've always meant to go back to. I just haven't yet. I've been sidetracked with a lot of things. Also, just want to say, my God, I love how beautiful this area is. Like, it's just, the mixture of the added depth of field, the tone mapping, the shadows, I'm so happy with where this area is, which I know some people are not happy with the color changes, but I don't know. I really like it. But anyway, let's go this way because I have added grass to Dark Souls Remastered. Also, what is that shadow moving to? Okay, well that's something. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I'll have to use free cam probably to see what that is. But what the heck? Anyway, Um, yeah, there's a little bit more grass in Firelink Shrine. I'm currently testing it, and it's honestly pretty easy. Like, I always knew I could do it, I just didn't go back and do it. Because the actual grass mesh that are here, basically, for instance, this grass mesh is basically the grass that is circling this little well, and you can select it, copy it, duplicate it, and move it around, which I'll actually open up DS Map Studio and show you guys that. And just as one cheeky thing, I did actually grab the mesh around this well because I noticed, I was like, well, that's actually it's pretty nice space for a bonfire in the middle of that. And so I moved it over here, and you have this nice little, I need to tweak it a little bit more, but you have this nice little circle in the middle where there would naturally be no grass around a bonfire. Now, of course, on this character, I goofed, and I don't have a firekeeper, so, and I'm like right before killing Gwen, so it's too late to do any specific quest related thing. I'm in New Game Plus anyway. And then down here I added a buttload of grass, and I actually love it. I think it actually looks great because this game, like, they did an okay job with grass, right? Like, there were little patches of it here and there. They had a pretty tight budget for, like, even the grass obviously is not complex, and it's very thin and it's not very geometric, and but it's grass, so that makes perfect sense. There's no reason to spend a lot of you know polygons on that, right? It's just grass, so it's thin by nature, so you can get away with that. But yeah, like, they had a pretty tight budget on the PS3 and 360, and so yeah, I think that's kind of my plan. Is I would like to basically just expand where it's already at, which is what I did with DS2, which was one of my favorite. That's kind of how I started modding DS2 in some ways. Is I was like, oh, I'll do a grass mod. What the hell? And then it ended up, you know, blowing up into all the other things I did with that visual overhaul. But there is one example in Firelink Shrine where I think there's a really good opportunity to add grass. Like, you'll see these are the grass that was already here, which is pretty nice. I don't feel like for the stone areas, I don't feel like I need to add any grass, but the ones where, like, there's actually a grass texture, right? I do feel like I could add grass there. Um, and then you have, oh yeah, so here's a mistake I made. A little bit of floating grass. Looks great. I'll fix that. But it's actually over in the graveyard. Because if you notice, these are the same, like, grass textures. But there's just not really any. I mean, there's some grass, but there's not a lot. Like, there's just little tiny patches. And it actually is a really great candidate, I think, for some actual grass patches. Because you kind of have, like, this one. Ooh, yeah, actually, I could copy this. Is this my copy, or is this original? Uh, no, that's original. It's got, like, a little bush on it. But this is a good candidate. It's really difficult in the graveyard because there's different elevations everywhere, and there's tombstones, and, like, so I think they did a pretty decent job of adding grass in some places, like just little tiny ones. But I think there's a lot of room here for, like, moving this grass one and just, you flesh it out a little bit. And I would say that's a light touch, right? Is that thing gonna keep rolling? Hell yeah, it is. All right, let's see. 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 Let's see Yeah, keep going. And so I think it's just a really good candidate for just some extra grass. Um, Now, I did get a tip from wonderful, wonderful Souls modder, Then's DES, which if you haven't checked him out, he's awesome and he mods Demon Souls. He's modded other stuff in the past, but he focuses on Demon Souls and he is so knowledgeable. But yeah, he was showing me an unused grass object that they just didn't use. So I got to hunt that down. But because actually these grass meshes that we're using here, these are actually labeled as map pieces. And the reason why this actually works for me, and this is the big issue with Dark Souls Remastered and Demon Souls, is that, and I've talked about this previously, let me open up DS Map Studio here. Yeah, so we have Firelink Shrine open. And so basically you can see, I'll select this mesh, this little map piece, and it is around the well here. But there's some grass, like if I select this foliage actually is very specifically placed on this hill. And so that is just not a candidate for duplicating and moving around. That's just not going to work. And you'll see this in a lot of places. You'll see there's still this one building that doesn't show up in Dark Souls Remastered in DS Map Studio, but it does obviously in Prepare to Die. But it still renders in game. It just looks weird. And then they have this very specific one that they use for a corner. So I will reuse that elsewhere for other corners. But that's essentially the gist of like, you just steal from other areas and then you can rotate and reuse them. Now, of course, the problem is the way that Dark Souls Remastered functions in DS Map Studio is way harder than DS2 or DS3. And for instance, like if I want to move this grass mesh, normally in like DS2 and DS3, the movement controls would be right near it. And I could like move it, I could move it right here. But look at where the movement controls are for the grass. It's some coordinate related thing going on with DSR. It's not for every item. Like for instance, moving this tree. There's the movement controls. You can even have the rotating controls. It's pretty fantastic. It has something to do with how the meshes are stored, and I would honestly put the blame on Dark Souls Remastered more than I would on DS Map Studio, 99.9999% of the time. It's some quirk that's in Dark Souls Remastered. The Prepare to Die version, I actually am curious. Actually, this is a bit of a preview for a little bit later in the video. We're going to go to Northern Undead Asylum because I have actually, that's what I spent hours yesterday basically doing a pass through, and I fixed a lot of my issues. That's kind of been this entire mod, is basically going back and oh, look at that. Yeah, the grass mesh and the movement controls are still floating way up here away from it, which makes this really difficult because either you do this, yeah, see, it's all in this nexus point. A lot of them are all controlled in this floating area. It's very odd. But the other way you can do it, and this is how I did it in Dark Souls Remastered, is basically you can look at it and then you have over here, you have your position. And so you can actually just drag this little number over here, this little indicator, a little ID, and you can move your grass. And this is sort of the control, and you understand which one is the X and the Y, and then there's up and there's down. There's also rotation. Rotation works a bit weirdly, and the reason why rotation works weirdly, and I didn't understand this for quite a while, modding these games, specifically Demon Souls and Dark Souls Remastered and Prepare to Die, is that because the control is actually hovering way over here, when you rotate, it's not actually just like centered on this. The reason why the controls are over there is some way that it's programmed with this map piece is that the actual map piece is actually showing up invisibly, like huge. And so when you rotate, it's not just moving this like you would think. It actually is going to move the grass in this giant circle. It's yeah. There's quirks to it for sure, and it's not great. So those are some of the challenges, and that's why I actually moved grass from over here, and I was flying it over to the other parts of Firelink Shrine. But basically, the slopes that you'll have over here are actually really tough to work with. In Dark Souls 2, it was super easy because I could just move the grass object. I could easily rotate it. I could tweak it right looking at it, right when I'm looking at the environment, and it was just 5,000 times easier. At that time, I thought that was difficult. And Dark Souls Remastered was like, hold my beer, my dude. It is going to be way more difficult. But that's fine. I'm just kind of playing around with it at the moment. But so far, like here, I think is also a good candidate for grass, right? Where this is a grassy area with a grassy texture. It just doesn't have any grass other than like this little shrub and this little, so it's things like this. That's my methodology for this, is that there are some areas that logically would have some grass. And I'm basing it mostly, just like I did in DS2, I'm basing it on what is the texture communicating to me. Like, for instance, in some areas in Firelink, they're obviously like there's stone and there's stonework. And so, yeah, I'm not going to shove grass on top of that just arbitrarily. Like in some areas they did somewhat. And so, but here, like it's purely like it's a legit just grass texture. And so you're kind of going, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense to put grass meshes on top. But fun fact, I think I showed this in an earlier video. So before, in this area down here, the lower part of Firelink Shrine, obviously there was less grass than what there is now because I added some. But even the grass that was there prior, which was probably like 60% of this grass, if you were up here in the game, and I never noticed this, but as you're walking down here, that grass didn't render at all. It was completely barren until you popped up like here, and then the draw group would go whoop, and it popped up the grass. Crazy stuff. So obviously I fixed that in my mod. So that's why in my mod, when you're walking around, you can actually, it renders the entire time. So that was an easy fix. But it's little things like that that I've noticed so often. Yeah, let's walk down here. Yeah, you can see that it now renders the grass the entire time. And I think it looks awesome. So let's run up here, because there actually is one change I made in Undead Burg. I was floating around all over yesterday, doing all kinds of things, as I normally do. I'm having so much fun. And making these videos daily is like keeping me on track, and well, whatever the track is, I don't know, but it's just motivating me to work on the mod, and then I make a video the next morning, and then it's this awesome little cycle I've gotten myself into that I really like. It's not to say I won't take a day off here and there. Sure. Oh my god, Undead Burg is so... Oh, oh, I just noticed another problem. Oh, look at that. Really? It's not rendering all the way through. That's interesting. Okay, well, no one's attacking me. Oh, the things you'll find modding this game. The amount of times I found that it's just not rendering something at different locations at different times. I think it's because I delete. Oh, I did delete. Oh, yeah, it's this. Yep. Yeah, so basically, when I was in Undead Burg yesterday, I noticed, well, I mean, I had known this for a while. So basically, there was like two different meshes that were colliding with this one here. They were duplicates, but they were dumb versions. And I found it really odd because basically from Firelink Shrine, which I also deleted Firelink Shrine down here, but there's a reason for that. It looked terrible, and it wasn't terribly needed, and I don't think anyone's going to terribly notice. And also, there was like this fake fog that they were using. And yeah, I'll show you in game. I don't think it's terribly noticeable. Anyway, let's fix this really quick. So let's go to 0 for draw groups. But yeah, basically I deleted a super dumb version of this mesh because it was Not needed for the most part. Like it's rendered in a distance that's perfectly fine. And whenever you load up the Firelink Shrine map, it already has a dumb version of this bridge, which there's still currently an issue with that. But here we are, and it is what it is. But let's fix that. I think that will fix. I think that'll fix my issue. Let's go to. I kind of have this window open up all the time here, where basically I have one where I modify textures or Fiverr for the models, and then I have my actual project folder, and then I have my Dark Souls Remastered. Pro tip for when you're modding, have your folders up like this so you can very quickly go boop, 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 copy over, done, got it. Let me mess with the textures. Previously, I used to make a mistake where I had all these windows open in separate spots, and or I would close them and then I'd have to reopen them. And I'm like, you know what? Let's work smarter. I don't understand why I would do this. Um, ooh, actually notice something through the distance over there. I think that's a ladder. This might fix it. Yeah, that's that ladder that goes down to the depths. Oh my god. Okay. You fix one thing, you break a couple other things. That's just how it goes. Oh, look at that. It's beautiful. Still kind of weird up on the top there, but yeah, whatever. It's fine. Okay, that's been fixed. But there is a change. Let's go to the Undead Burg vendor spot. There's a couple other areas that work too. Actually, you guys are probably gonna try to jump my ass. Oh, y'all are gonna come down here. Oh, really? These jabronis are going for Employee of the Month. Okay. Okay. So we have a nice little shadow here. Nice little light coming in. And reaching down to Lower Undead Burg, because we love that. And as you'll notice, the actual tower, or parish, I guess is what it technically is, where you can take the elevator down to Firelink. That's where the gargoyle boss is. And why did I make this? I think there was a fake version of it that looked kind of, but this is the actual version being rendered all the way from over here. And those are the actual, of course, gargoyles sitting on there before they're activated. Well, that one, I've already done the boss, so that one's just stationary. But no, it was really funny. I was actually over here yesterday at some point, and I was talking to the vendor, and I noticed that the gargoyle and the bell, the specific bell of awakening, the first one, was floating in the air, and I was like, what the hell is going on over there? So apparently I turned that to render all the time to fix something else in Undead Burg earlier when I was working in that area. And so I realized, well, if they're rendering from all the way over here, because there are like hard-coded limits from what I can tell of like even when you set something to render all the time, it doesn't mean it's going to render through every map. Like there still is a distance. I don't really know where that distance is found, but I can use connect collisions, which I still need to learn. That's on the list. But anyway, so I was like, well, hell, I'll just make the whole thing render. And so I had to make like 3 different map pieces render all the time. And I think that should be fine. And I don't think that should screw up the parish. But I will have to test that. So that was a cool change. So now it's a subtle little difference. And then I had an issue here where basically when you would be in here, oh, I forgot about Utridum. There'd be light coming through here, and it would cast these really awesome shadows, which I loved. But as I would enter here, it would go dark. And so I had to use, which let me show you really quick. I had to use the cheat engine to use the floating camera, the free camera. And I only recommend using this offline, obviously, because this is definitely like cheat worthy. Oh, do I need to connect it to Dark Souls Remastered again? Probably. Yes, keep the current address. Sure. Okay, let me reopen it. Yeah, I had it open from earlier, so that's probably what was going. So it's camera. Maybe? Maybe it'll work? Maybe not. I don't know. Okay. Oh, maybe it won't work. Cheat engine's a little goofy, It's a little goofy. Okay, well. Oop. Yeah, all right. Didn't like that one, but that's fair. Let's go to Fiverr Editor, downloads, and okay, we got some screenshots and tools and Blender things. Let's open up cheatengine.exe. Sounds like a virus, but that's fine. Let's open up Dark Souls Remastered. Let's reconnect it to Dark Souls Remastered. And maybe the free cam will work this time. I had it open. That was probably a dumb idea. So let's. Woo! Okay, so free camera enable controls. Let's go back to Dark Souls Remastered. And now you'll notice the frame rate's pretty bad, but it's whatever. And so now this has been very useful. I only started using it like last week, I think. But basically, it's very useful for occlusion style things where it's like not rendering something. So basically, what I did is I noticed, there was sun coming through here. I'm like, well, that's strange. So I did free camera, and then I fly out here, and I noticed that it was not rendering this bridge up here. And I went, well, that's strange. And so I set it to render the bridge. But this is actually a really good way to tell at any given point what is the game engine rendering and what is it not. And you'll see it actually is rendering quite a bit. It's actually rendering most of it, which is what I want. I would prefer because, Dark Souls Remastered is not geometrically dense or anything. It's obviously still a 2011 game in, most every way. So, but it is rendering most everything at once. But as you'll tell, this is just an incredibly powerful tool to have. And I only use it occasionally. Obviously, it'll get you banned, but or potentially banned. So obviously, you can do a lot with Cheat Engine. But God, I love how it looks. So anyway, let's disable that again and you can use this to warp, and you can do really cool stuff. Uh-oh. Hey, what the hell? I turned it off. Oh, okay. Oh, I need to actually go in and disable free camera. Yeah, okay. I think. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it gets caught in this loop of like attacking. Hey, cheat engine, chill. Okay. So that is cool. Those are some Undead Burg updates. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let's dark sign here. Let's close my cheat engine because I think it's still goofing with the controls. Yeah, there you go. So it hooks in, causes some issues. And here we go. Love to see it. We got the bridge, got all the cool stuff. And because I can't warp to... Yeah, I can't warp to Northern Undead Asylum, which is goofy. But one good idea is I'll just make a new character, because I always have one dummy character that I basically can always delete, because I always have 10 characters. Yeah, don't worry about that name. Don't worry about the name. That's not fart face. Don't worry about the name. It's not. And there's my name, Steve. I don't know if I've ever said that, but yeah, my name is Steve. So FGDGDFG. Yes. So let's. Okay, there we go. Let's go gift. None. I like how you can just hit the basic button, basic button, basic button, basic button. Let's do something. Let's do a different starting class, because I feel like I always start with that. Let's do thief. I love the black leather armor. But yeah, so basically I've made some changes to Undead Asylum because there was a classic problem in the Undead Asylum. Well, first thing being, oh my god, wait. Holy shit, it worked. No fucking way. My change worked. Okay, I swear to God, I tested this. This shit did not work. But so basically, I just added the skull lantern to the first, which I call them poppities, pippity poppities, the first item drop, because I just figured, like, boom, let's give you, basically, so canonically in my head, Oscar, the guy who actually dropped and got hit by the ball later, and or no, he got hit by the Asylum Demon, and that's why he gives you the Estus Flask and all that stuff later. But basically, in the cutscene, he drops you the dungeon cell key. But I was like, I think he would drop you a skull lantern. knowing how dark it is, knowing that the lantern doesn't work in my own like canonical like head canon. So, oh my god, it worked! Holy shit, this is awesome. This is yeah. I swear to God, I tested this. It didn't work. Actually, I don't know why there's weird shadows on this, but anyway, so I re-enabled the lighting that hits inside the cell. Um, oh, oh wait, the lantern doesn't work in Undead Asylum. Really? Are we sure about that? Oh, I'll have to fix that really quick. Yeah, okay, I'll fix. Or wait, no way. My poppity outside the door also worked? No. Okay, we'll have to delete that. Dude, I genuinely, I don't know why that worked now. I've tested that. I've reloaded. I've made new characters. I don't have any idea why that's now working, but here we are. Okay. Well, anyway, I'll get rid of that second one. Um, I was only making that because I couldn't get the first one to work. Well, here we go. Um, okay. Well, hold on a second. Let me go back to my project here. And yeah, I guess I hadn't made Undead Asylum the player. Well, because I disabled the player lantern, right? That was pretty easy. I guess I just didn't ever go back. Yeah, I didn't go back. Okay, cool. So basically, we just need to go to all the collisions and set the lantern ID to be 0. Whoop, didn't mean to click on that. We need to go over to the param editor, draw param. Oh, this is so sick. Okay, cool. So now you have a skull lantern to begin with, which is some of the issues I was going to bring up later of like there are some darker areas in this that were a little hard to see, I thought, but this pretty much fixes it. So, okay, so let's see. So we have 0, which we now need to make basically 0 for all of these. This is going to be the player lantern, right? And then the skull lantern basically goes up by 30, and that's what this is. Ooh, 400? I don't know about 400. I got to go see on one of my other maps and copy that. So what did I do for Undead Burg? Let's see. So let's go to the M10 point light bank. Let's go to 30. I can't remember if I did. So I did 150, 0, and 30. All right. Okay, I can fuck with that. Man, I gotta stop cursing. I don't curse that much on these, but so every once in a while I go, damn it. Um, let's do that. Let's do 150. Let's start with that. I don't know what this color, obviously it's RGB between 255, 240, and 170. I usually type it in the web browser just to see what color it is. But yeah, let's save the params. We need to save the map because I've changed the lantern. And I think that's going to work. Okay, so let's go back over. We do actually need to copy both, even though I copy both all the time. Don't worry about it. It's just, I want to always be in the habit of copying both over just to be sure. Just in case I goof and forget that I saved the params or I did change something. Oh my god, oh my god, it works. Whoo, baby, yes, I'm so excited. No, so here's the other change that I made. And basically, an issue that I had in Undead Asylum is that uh, keeping these torches illuminated, I know I've talked about it so often, but basically you have to set the map piece to be not a shadow source. And in many cases, not even a shadow destination. And the problem you're going to have with that is when you don't set this whole map piece, which is basically like this entire hallway, when you don't set this to be a shadow source, that means that light can pass through it because it's not casting its own shadow by the light hitting it. And so as a destination, that means that it can also basically receive shadows. And so in this case, I had to turn off both because if it's a shadow destination, it's going to show, it also can turn off this illumination. And but in this case, that actually doesn't turn off this illumination. But the reason why I had to also turn it off is that there is actually a floating map piece right above this prison cell that is a shadow source, and they had a cutout for this little lighting. And so I basically copied that and then edited the draw groups for it and moved it towards this way, down the hallway. Because as you'll notice, my character no longer has that sort of hero lighting that's hitting from the right side, which was a classic problem in every other version of the mod, because that's coming from the sky with the way that you have to do these map pieces. And so I actually have a map piece now above all of this that now blocks that, and you have this perfectly dark lit character that's now properly lit by the torches. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite. And so basically, I'll head over here. Also, a garbage truck in my area is going through. I have NVIDIA broadcast, so I don't think you guys are going to hear it at all. But I'll check in the video edit. But yeah, I actually. Oh, here's a little bit of hero lighting that remained. So this is a good example. This is hero lighting that is hitting from nowhere. I need to fix that, but that's pretty easy. And I just like the idea of like, look how immersive this is when there's no hero lighting and you're properly lit by these torches. Now, what you sacrifice is that there's no shadow that my character is casting, but realistically, the shadow that gets cast in these areas is incredibly inaccurate because it's not actually based on it's not based on my X and Y coordinates, you know, the player character. It's not based on the torch illumination X and Y coordinates like it is in like DS2 and 3. And so it's pretty inaccurate. So I'm actually pretty okay sacrificing that. Like there's going to be trade-offs. Oh my God, I love the skull lantern in here because the actual texture work that they did and sort of the specularity on these textures is so good because it's wet, you know, it's like it's moist, which I hate that word. Here was a room that was a bit dark, but I love how it's lit and then it goes onto the map piece and then the water sort of like interacts with that. Oh, it's so cool. But yeah, you'll see your character being lit. But the skull lantern, oh, like this was a problem where like it's really dark in here. And you can kind of goof your way to get to it. But the skull lantern's definitely, now that that works, oh my God, that's so cool. And then you obviously have this. And I had to keep moving that invisible map piece above a lot of these areas. And so that was super tedious. But I also came out here and I think the player character is still a little dark right here. I don't 100% know why that is. Like, yeah, it is shadowed, so like, I don't know. Maybe I need to make the shadows darker to compensate. But like here, it looks a lot better, and you can see the shadow. So let's light that. And that obviously will affect the area. Yeah, I had to do a lot of work, and I'm still not like perfectly happy with Northern Undead Asylum because it's actually super touchy, and like there's issues with like fake map pieces that they're using. Like for instance, up here, this is something that like I hope most people don't notice, but I basically set the ceiling to render all the time, and there's a lot of reasons for that, and there's lighting issues and that's what's actually really goofy about this, is that the Asylum Demon is normally up there and he jumps down. So I'll look into that. But basically what happens is there was this really ugly render thing where you would pop in and it would go boom and it would render the ceiling, but then he would still jump through it. So there was already like that mismatch. And it wasn't terribly noticeable with baked lighting because, well, it didn't really change. So no one really looked up to tell, but it's super weird. So I did set it to do that. I don't think most people will notice. I'll revisit it for sure. But yeah, okay. Hey, bud. Ooh, actually, so down here there is a bit of a, I don't know what's going on there. Okay, I'll have to look at that. I'm not really sure why that's happening. Did I strip out the baked shadows here? I don't think so. All right, well that's strange. Also, no, that's fine. Yeah, okay. I'll look at that. I don't know what that is. Oh, the Dark Souls. I love making these videos because there's things I notice and I go, oh, shit. And I think that illumination is actually working. Well, that actually looks weird too, where it's basically doing this little circle. Okay, I'll look into that. I did change the lighting down here. Well, yeah, it's like it's weird. The illumination's hitting my character, the coloring. Dude, do you have like a Gatling gun? What the hell? God, I feel like he's shooting more often. So I did modify out here the actual like lighting. I changed the shadow coordinates to, well, actually I matched it from Prepare to Die in a different shadow ID. And so now basically you get this really cool shadow that's coming in from the sky. Because this area was always like basically, had no ceiling. But they didn't really take advantage of that, I don't think. And so now it has this really cool shadow. And, okay, we got Bandit's knife. Cool. Let's do that. We love that. And then you come back in here. There's a pretty good transition because these are actually like obviously different IDs, different collisions. You'll notice there's a, nah, I guess that's fine. There's just like a tad. Yeah, so like right here, there's a little bit of hero lighting going on. I'll look at that. See, this illumination's correct, so I'll have to look at the two map pieces there to see what the big deal is. But, oh, I got a sneeze coming on. Ugh, maybe not. So yeah, out here looks pretty snazzy. I was messing, like this area is so ridiculous with how like touchy it is, and you change one thing and then you can't see certain things, and so I don't know if I'll ever be 100% happy with Northern Undead Asylum. I will say using the torch or the skull lantern here actually like can make you see this, but I feel like that's still pretty fair because it depends if you're going to use the skull lantern, and I'm actually pretty okay incentivizing using the skull lantern, right? Okay, thank you. What's up, homie? How's it going? Thank you. I love the Estus flask. Big fan. Big fan. Yeah, so I do like that, like, our character gets lit by the sun coming in there. Thank you for the skull lantern, by the way. That's very nice. Very nice. All right. And whoop. Oh, poise boy. Yeah, I'm really, God, I love making these videos because I get to see like, oh crap, my skull lantern worked. Oh crap, I didn't turn on the skull lantern to function. And oh, I need to fix how the lantern works. And like, all of that stuff is just super helpful. So it's like this win-win because people seem to enjoy the content of me meandering. And oh, that was close. God, the amount of times I goof and I still die in these areas, it's hilarious. Just because I mod this game in no way makes me good at this game. That I've learned. So yeah, it's really weird. Like, ah, crap. Damn it. I did break the fog wall. God damn it. Okay, so that is due to. Let me see. Let me fix that in a second. So I think that's actually down to. Oh my god, it's so annoying. Like, I don't know why that breaks the fog wall, but it does. So basically, I believe it's this. No, it's actually the other one. So yeah, this is a good example. So basically, you'll see that there's this map piece here and there's this map piece here, front and back. That's cool, right? Well, that doesn't actually make a lot of sense because when you're on the inside of it, there's actually this open portion. And that's actually what you're seeing when you first walk through here and when you're on the inside of this. Basically, there is a hole in the ceiling. And that's like what they want you to see most of the time, right? And that's actually super annoying. See, this is what you're seeing most of the time. And they do this through somewhat clever usage of draw groups. And so like when you're inside, you'll only see, oh my God, there's a hole in the ceiling. That's really cool. And then they go, oh no, hold on. Let's render this because that is connected to this whole portion. And so it's just one of these like really annoying things where I'm like, damn it, balancing that is just awful. I hate it. So actually, that's a good idea. I'm going to talk to the Magpie person on Discord and in the YouTube comments because I think they're smarter than me when it comes to like Blender and 3ds Max. If they can make a version that is uniformly with that hole in the ceiling, that would help me a lot. So anyway, let's unload that. let's load up. Man, this video is going to be longer than I thought it was. This really started as I'm adding grass, and now it's burgeoned into this ridiculous Undead Asylum. Yeah, so basically, let's go look at this back side, and I can copy the draw groups pretty much straight over, because they basically share it for like 99.9% of objects. Okay, let's copy this. This is going to break something else, but for the meantime, I'm pretty okay with it. Okay, so let's. Oh, I need to drink more coffee. I've been talking a lot. I'm glad you guys enjoy this. Clearly, I love it, and it's a good start to the day, right? I get my coffee. I've just woken up, and then I can gab for a while. Okay, let's go back here. Let's reload. Because, yeah, I don't want to break the fog walls. Like, that is a trade-off I'm not willing to make, right? That's a pretty key, that's a foundational thing that I'm not willing to make. So, let's see. Have we fixed it? Fuck yeah, we have. Let's see what else that broke. Okay, no, the ceiling is still being rendered, so I'll have to look up from when I'm fucking this guy. I love that if you stay here long enough, he goes to get you. I love that. That's so cool. I love that this guy can fast roll by default. The black leather set is goated, right? I noticed there's some light coming in here. Yeah, I know. Oh, shit. No! If he kills me, I quit. I delete my YouTube account. Alright. Ah! Damn, y'all are horny this time. What the hell? Okay, yeah, do that move. Do your Demon Souls move. You made your way all the way to Elden Ring, so you're obviously like Miyazaki's favorite enemy or boss. Y'all have been in basically everything. You're not in Sekiro, I don't think. But, God damn it. Okay. Well, okay. Don't do the 1-2. Don't do the 1-2. Don't do the 1-2. Okay. I bet Stray Demon. Okay. Am I just really bad this morning? What the heck is going on? Luckily, I can curse this late in the video. Dude, you are like 360 no-scoping. What the hell? Am I going to be out of Estus Flat? Yeah, I am. Oh my god. Okay. Well, hey, at least this is more fun. Whew. Okay. I think I've gotten a couple bleeds on me. Oh, there we go. Okay. That was never in doubt, just so you know. Just so you know. Obviously. Totally. You know, 100%. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it looks like here it's not rendering the sky ceiling portion, the back portion. Which I guess is fine. I guess that makes sense. Although you'll notice it's not actually rendering a shadow. Interesting. I wondered if I did that because the torches in here are based on... Like, I haven't quite figured out why some of them you can't have the shadow destination on. And sometimes you can. So, okay, let me turn on shadow destination for this little map piece here. And let me see if that screws everything up. Because there's another thing that I did in this room that really goofed everything, where I went back and I deleted the baked shadows, because sometimes that's the issue of why your shadow won't show up, because it was never intended to. And they had baked shadows that basically make that not appear. So let's test this. Is this the right balance? Can I have destination on and the torches still show up? If not, then whatever, who cares? No, torches are still illuminating. And my shadow shows up. Okay, well that's pretty good. Okay, pretty happy with that. And it shows up just in this one area. I don't fully know why that is, because I feel like the sky would whatever, it's fine. Oh yeah, also this has been happening when I reload the game. These kind of break, which is weird. That's down to the break object files, which is weird because I haven't modified those at all. I do have a fix for that on mine, but I don't think that should actually affect any of you guys who download the mod, because as you'll notice in my mod files, I don't modify the break object files at all that tell the engine, like, you know, when things break like that. I'm not modifying that, so I think that should actually be fine, but I'll look out for comments of that. But anyway, yeah, I've modified the little settings out here, and, you know, you already had a shadow, but like the contrast of this outside area, and so I've tried to make a balance of contrast and shadows and all kinds of cool things. So, and then I had issues where, yeah, you'll see there's still like little differences where, like, looking inside this room, the doors show up a little bit too much, they're a little too dark, but like this area is just an absolute nightmare to work on. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this this much deeper dive than I thought it was going to be. But my God, this is a whopper of a video. But I love showcasing like the inner workings of how they're doing a lot of this with like really clever programming, with like turning, you know, certain renders on, other ones off, and of course a lot of that was down to the PS3 and 360. But I think it's really so clever how they were doing a lot of this, and there's obviously limitations, and so that's what I'm obviously running into, because what I'm doing was obviously not meant to be done with the way that they created the game. So I'm sort of having to work around that, and it's been a lot of fun. I can see why QLock, who did the remaster, did not enable dynamic shadows. I 100% understand why they just went, nope, that's going to be out of scope. So yeah, if you like this video, please subscribe. You know, please consider subscribing. I post mostly daily, but not always. Sometimes I take days off. And maybe I'll make a schedule. I don't know. Right now, I just mostly make every day. And then sometimes I take days off when I haven't had any modding progress or I'm doing something else. And consider liking the video. It does help a lot. And sharing the video. If you know someone who might really enjoy it, or some community that'd be like, hell yeah, that's rad. I'd appreciate that. That's really cool. But anyway, yeah, I'll see you down in the comments. I do try to comment on them and expand on my thinking. I think we're really close to 1,000. I think we're only 25 subscribers away, which is absolutely bananas. So I'm really close to getting monetized. If it's in my power, I will try not to make that annoying at all. I would like to have this be sustainable in some way, to where I can focus my efforts more on modding. That's really where any dollar comes from. Anything I earn from doing anything related to this is basically every dollar that I earn from anything connected to this, which I don't take that for granted. If anyone, I got some donations yesterday and I was like, oh my God, I'll never not be blown away by that. That is ridiculous to me and very sweet and heartwarming. But yeah, basically every dollar I make from anything related to this project and my other projects is that it means I don't need to spend time elsewhere making that dollar. And I can focus more on modding and making videos and content. And I don't know, that makes me happy. So the more I can do that, that's kind of the dream, right? So yeah, hopefully you enjoy these, and I'll see you down in the comments. I always like talking with you guys. I'll see you next time. Praise the sun. As always, fear the old blood, all the good things. And tell me if you are grossly incandescent. That's what I want to know. Are you grossly incandescent right now? Because I hope you are. We all should be grossly incandescent.